9% of traders fail at scalping, not because the strategy is hard, but because their mind isn't wired for it. The few who succeed don't just trade faster, they think, feel, and react in a completely different way. Why 90% of traders completely fail at scalping and never understand the real reason behind their losses. Most traders who jump into scalping believe the biggest challenge is finding the right setup, mastering a fast, moving chart, or beating the spread and commissions. They spend weeks watching YouTube videos, backtesting strategies on 1-minute or tick charts, and convincing themselves that if they just get the entries right, the profits will follow. But after a few weeks or months of live trading, their accounts bleed slowly at first, then dramatically, and they quit wondering what went wrong. Uncomfortable truth is this: 90% of traders fail at scalping, not because the strategy is too difficult or the market is rigged against them, because their minds are simply not built for the extreme psychological demands that scalping places on a human being. Scalping is not just faster trading, it's an entirely different mental sport. In swing trading or position trading, you have time to think, analyze, and even second, guess yourself before making a move. You can walk away from the screen, come back, and the trade is still there. Scalping removes that luxury completely. You are forced to make rapid-fire decisions in seconds, sometimes milliseconds. One tick can be the difference between a winner and a loser. There is no room for hesitation, overthinking, or emotional recovery. Every single trade delivers immediate feedback, win or lose, and that constant feedback loop destroys most people psychologically. The first hidden killer is emotional whiplash. A professional scalper can go from feeling like a genius on 3 quick, winning trades to feeling like a complete failure after 2 small losses, all within 10 minutes. Normal human psychology is not wired to handle this level of intensity without breaking down. Most traders enter a trade with hope, excitement, or even greed. When the price moves against them by just a few ticks, fear kicks in instantly. Their heart rate rises, palms get sweaty, and rational thinking disappears. Instead of cutting the loss exactly as planned, they freeze, move the stop further, or pray for a reversal. That single moment of weakness is repeated dozens of times a day, and over time it compounds into massive losses. Another brutal reality is decision fatigue combined with overtrading. Scalpers often take 20 to 100 trades per session. Trade requires full concentration, quick judgment on order flow, volume, and price action. After 2 or 3 hours, even experienced traders feel mentally drained. Most retail traders, however, push through that fatigue because they are addicted to the action. They start forcing trades during low volatility periods, chasing moves they would normally ignore, or revenge trading after a loss to get the money back quickly. Studies and broker data consistently show that traders who execute the highest number of trades are usually the biggest losers. The more you trade under emotional pressure, the more you leak money through spreads, slippage, and poor decisions. Then comes the deadly combination of loss aversion and FOMO. Humans feel the pain of losing money roughly twice as strongly as the pleasure of making the same amount. In scalping, where wins are small and frequent, but losses can feel sharp and personal, this bias becomes catastrophic. A trader might happily let a 5-tick winner run into a 2-tick loss because we'll come back. But the moment they see a strong move happening without them, jump in late with bigger size out of fear of missing out. This cycle, holding losers too long and chasing winners too late, the silent account killer that most scalpers never diagnose correctly. They blame the market, the news, or their broker, instead of admitting their own mind betrayed them. Overconfidence after a string of wins is equally dangerous. A few green trades in a row, and the average trader suddenly feels invincible. They increase position size, remove stops, or start trading without waiting for their precise setup. The market quickly humbles them with a fast reversal, and now they are in tilt mode, angry, desperate, and emotionally compromised. Professional scalpers treat every trade as if it is their first. They maintain ice-cold discipline whether they are up 2% or down 1% on the day. That emotional flatness is extremely rare and almost impossible for most people to sustain under real financial pressure. The deeper reason why most people can't do scalping is that their brain is wired for long-term survival in a stable world, not for thriving in a high-speed, stakes environment where uncertainty hits every few seconds. Normal thinking involves prediction, narrative, and comfort. Scalping demands pure execution, probability acceptance, and the ability to detach ego completely from outcomes. You must be willing to be wrong dozens of times a day and still execute the next setup with the same precision and zero emotional carryover. Very few human beings are naturally built for this level of mental toughness. Most traders never understand this reality because they focus only on the technical side, indicators, levels, and patterns. They ignore that scalping is 80–90% psychology and execution under fire. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your mind panics, hesitates, or gets greedy for even 1 second, that edge disappears instantly. The few who succeed long-term have rewired their thinking, scalping not as gambling or excitement, but as a repetitive, almost mechanical process where they simply react to high probability setups with strict rules and small, consistent edges. This is the brutal reality very few trading educators talk about openly. Scalping looks glamorous from the outside: fast money, quick wins, being in the action all day. In reality, it is mentally exhausting, emotionally draining, and brutally honest. It exposes every weakness in your character: impatience, fear, greed, ego, and lack of discipline. Until you accept that the real battle is not against the market, but against your own mind, you will keep repeating the same mistakes and wondering why scalping doesn't work. The 90% who fail are not less intelligent or less hardworking. They simply bring a normal human mind into an environment that demands an almost superhuman level of emotional control and mental speed. Understanding this truth is the first and most important step. Only then can you decide whether you are willing to do the deep psychological work required to develop the mind of a real scalper, or whether you should choose a trading style that better matches how your brain actually functions. How a professional scalper thinks differently: speed, emotion control, and decision-making under extreme pressure. A professional scalper does not think like an ordinary trader. While most traders analyze, predict, and hope the market moves in their favor, a true scalper operates with a completely different mental operating system. Their thinking is built around 3 core pillars: speed, unbreakable emotion control, and razor-sharp decision-making under intense pressure. This mindset is what separates the rare, consistent winners from the 90% who eventually burn out. At the heart of the scalper's mindset is speed, because it's not just the speed of clicking buttons, but the speed of processing information and executing without hesitation. A scalper's brain is trained to filter massive amounts of data in fractions of a second: price action, volume spikes, order flow, support and resistance levels, and micro trends. They don't spend time wondering what might happen next. Instead, they instantly recognize high probability patterns they have seen thousands of times before. It comes from deliberate repetition and screen time, turning complex decisions into near instinctive reactions. Where a normal trader sees chaos, scalper sees clarity and acts immediately. Hesitation of even 1 second can turn a potential winner into a loser, so they train themselves to decide and execute in the same breath. Equally critical is their extreme emotion control. Traders ride an emotional roller coaster with every trade: excitement on wins, frustration on losses, and anxiety during drawdowns. Professional scalpers maintain an almost robotic emotional flatness. They have rewired their brain to treat every trade as just another data point with no personal attachment. 5-tick winner feels the same as a 5-tick loser because they understand that individual trade outcomes mean almost nothing in the long run. Their edge comes from taking hundreds of small, high-probability setups with strict risk rules. Detachment allows them to stay calm when the market is moving violently or when they hit a string of losses. They do not celebrate big wins or mourn losses because both are distractions that cloud judgment. This ice-cold discipline is rare and incredibly difficult to develop, but is non-negotiable for long-term survival in scalping. Decision-making under extreme pressure is where the scalper's mindset truly shines. In normal trading, afford to double, check charts, wait for confirmation, or even skip a setup if you feel unsure. In scalping, pressure is constant. The market can reverse in a heartbeat, slippage can eat your edge, and news events can create sudden volatility spikes. A professional scalper has trained their mind to perform at its best exactly when most people freeze or panic. They rely on pre-defined rules and mental checklists that kick in automatically under stress. They accept uncertainty as part of the game and focus only on what they can control: their entry, their stop loss, their position size, and their exit discipline. They do not fight the market, they flow with it, taking what it gives in that exact moment without forcing anything. This mindset also includes a deep acceptance of probability. Scalper knows that even the best setup will lose 40–50% of the time. They are not chasing perfection or trying to be right on every trade. Instead, they focus on maintaining a positive expectancy through disciplined execution. Losses are viewed as business expenses, not personal failures. Mental framing removes ego from the equation and prevents revenge trading or overconfidence after winning streaks. Ultimately, the scalper's mindset is less about being smarter and more about being mentally tougher and faster. Requires thousands of hours of deliberate practice to rewire natural human tendencies like fear, greed, and overthinking. Who succeed treat scalping like a high-performance skill, similar to a fighter pilot or professional athlete, where reaction time, focus, and emotional regulation determine success far more than intelligence or strategy alone, is why most people can study scalping techniques for years but still fail to profit consistently. They never develop the actual mindset required to execute those techniques under real market pressure. The mental skills that separate winning scalpers from the rest. What truly separates consistently profitable scalpers from the thousands who fail is not a superior strategy or faster internet connection, it is their psychological edge. While most traders focus on technical setups and indicators, winning scalpers invest heavily in developing 4 critical mental skills: laser, sharp focus, highly trained instinct, unbreakable discipline, and the rare ability to handle losing streaks without self-destruction. These skills create a mental armor that allows them to survive and thrive in an environment designed to break ordinary minds. The foundation of a scalper's psychological edge. In scalping, distractions are everywhere: news alerts, social media, random thoughts, or even small account fluctuations. A professional scalper trains their mind to achieve a state of deep, unbroken concentration for hours at a time. They block out everything except the price action unfolding in front of them. This level of focus is almost meditative. They are fully present in every tick, noticing subtle shifts in momentum, volume, and order flow that most traders miss. This hyper-focus is not natural for most humans. It is deliberately cultivated through practice, routines, and sometimes even mental training techniques used by athletes and elite performers. Without this ability to stay locked in, even the best setups become invisible or get executed too late. Instinct comes next, and it is one of the most misunderstood aspects of scalping. Many people think instinct is just gut feeling. But for a winning scalper, instinct is pattern recognition built from thousands of hours of screen time. Their brain has seen similar market conditions so many times that it can instantly detect when a setup has a higher probability of success, allows them to make split-second decisions with confidence. However, they never blindly follow instinct, they combine it with strict rules. The real power lies in knowing when to trust that trained instinct and when to stay out. Balance between instinct and structure is what gives them an edge over traders who are either too mechanical or too emotional. Discipline is the glue that holds everything together. A scalper's edge disappears the moment they break their own rules. Winning scalpers treat their trading plan like a religion. They enter only when every condition is met, exit exactly at their target or stop, and never increase risk out of excitement or frustration. This discipline extends to position sizing, daily loss limits, and even when to stop trading for the day. Most traders can follow rules when they are winning, but true discipline shows up during pressure. The scalper who can walk away after hitting a daily loss limit while the market is still moving is far rarer and far more profitable than the one who keeps pushing to recover. Perhaps the toughest psychological skill is handling losing streaks. Every scalper experiences them, sometimes 5, 10, or even 15 losing trades in a row. Normal traders start doubting their strategy, increase size to recover faster, or quit altogether. Winning scalpers view losing streaks as inevitable statistical noise. They have trained themselves to detach emotionally and continue executing their edge with the same precision. They understand that their profitability comes from the long-term expectancy of their method, not from any single session. Mental resilience prevents small drawdowns from turning into account, destroying disasters. They review their trades calmly, make minor adjustments if needed, and move forward without carrying emotional baggage into the next trade. Together, these 4 mental skills create a powerful psychological edge that compounds over time. Focus keeps them sharp, instinct gives them speed, discipline protects their capital, and resilience keeps them in the game long enough for the edge to work. Developing this edge requires consistent daily effort, journaling trades, reviewing performance, practicing mindfulness, and constantly pushing mental limits. Traders never build this psychological foundation because it is invisible and unglamorous compared to fancy indicators or secret strategies. In the end, a scalper who masters these mental skills doesn't just survive the market, they dominate it. Their edge isn't hidden in charts, it lives in their mind. The deadly psychological mistakes most traders make while scalping and how they destroy accounts silently. While most traders blame the market, their broker, or bad luck for their scalping failures, The real damage is almost always caused by invisible psychological traps that operate quietly in the background. These mental traps don't announce themselves with loud warnings. They sneak in during live trading, hijack decision-making, and slowly bleed accounts dry until nothing is left. The worst part is that most traders never even realize these traps exist until it's too late. The first and most dangerous trap is hesitation disguised as patience. Scalper spots a perfect high probability setup forming, but instead of executing instantly, they wait for just one more confirmation. That single second of hesitation causes them to miss the move or enter late at a worse price. In scalping, where edges are measured in ticks, entering even 2 or 3 ticks late can turn a winning setup into a break-even or losing trade. Hesitation usually stems from fear of being wrong. Over time, the trader develops a habit of missing good trades while still taking the bad ones, creating a silent negative expectancy that eats away at their account without them noticing. Another deadly trap is moving stops and targets emotionally. Trader enters a scalping trade with a clear 5-tick stop and 8-tick target. As soon as the price moves against them by 3 ticks, fear kicks in. Instead of accepting the small loss as planned, they move the stop further to give it room. Sometimes they even remove the stop completely, telling themselves the market will come back. This single act of weakness turns a small, manageable loss into a catastrophic one. The same happens with winners. They move the target further out of greed, only to watch the price reverse and give back the entire profit. Small violations repeated 20 to 50 times a day quietly destroy accounts far more effectively than any single big loss. Revenge trading is perhaps the most destructive mental trap in scalping. After a losing streak or a painful loss, the trader's ego gets hurt. Instead of stepping away, they increase position size dramatically and start forcing trades to get the money back quickly. In scalping's fast environment, almost always leads to even bigger losses. The trader enters sloppy setups, ignores risk rules, and trades with anger instead of logic. What started as a normal drawdown quickly spirals into a full account blow-up. The silent killer here is that revenge trading feels justified in the moment. I deserve to win this one back, while it systematically destroys capital. Overtrading during low volatility periods is another silent account killer. When the market is slow and choppy, most traders get bored. They start taking marginal setups just to stay active, convincing themselves that something might happen. These low-quality trades usually have poor risk, reward, and higher chances of loss. Commissions and spreads compound the damage. Professional scalpers have the discipline to sit on their hands during dead markets and wait for clear opportunities. Most retail traders cannot tolerate inactivity, so they trade themselves into losses during the worst possible conditions. The trap of selective memory also does massive hidden damage. After a trading session, the trader remembers only the few big wins and conveniently forgets the many small losses and missed opportunities. Themselves they had a good day, even though their actual P&L shows a net loss. Distorted memory prevents them from accurately reviewing performance and making necessary adjustments. Over weeks and months, they remain stuck in the same cycle of small wins and larger losses without understanding why their account isn't growing. Another subtle but deadly trap is size inconsistency. 5% on normal setups, but suddenly jumps to 2 to 3% when they feel extra confident after a winning streak. Emotional sizing turns what should be a controlled risk into dangerous leverage. One bad trade at oversized risk can wipe out days or weeks of careful profits. Most traders never track how their position sizing correlates with their emotional state, allowing this trap to operate undetected. Finally, trap of attaching ego to individual trades silently destroys many scalpers. Start treating every winning trade as proof they are smart and every losing trade as proof they are failing. Emotional attachment makes it impossible to stay objective. They become defensive about their decisions, refuse to cut losses quickly, and start trading to protect their self-image instead of protecting their capital. In scalping's high-frequency environment, ego-driven trading leads to hesitation on good setups and stubbornness on bad ones. These mental traps rarely cause immediate blow-ups. Instead, they work slowly and silently, a few extra ticks lost here, a slightly larger loss there, a missed opportunity today, an oversized trade tomorrow. Over time, cumulative effect is devastating. What looks like normal trading variance on the surface is actually self-sabotage hidden behind psychological weaknesses. Traders who eventually succeed are those who learn to identify these traps in real time and develop systems to neutralize them. They journal every violation, hard daily loss limits, use strict pre-defined rules, and regularly review their mental state during trading. until a trader becomes brutally honest about these common mental traps and actively works to eliminate them. Scalping will continue to feel like a constant uphill battle against an invisible enemy, their own mind. Practical steps and training methods to rewire your mind and develop the real scalping psychology. Building the mind of a professional scalper is not about learning more strategies or watching more trading videos. It is about deliberately rewiring your brain to handle speed, emotional flatness, and rapid decision-making. The good news is that this psychology can be trained, but it demands consistent, uncomfortable work over many months. Here are the practical steps and training methods that actually work. Start with deliberate screen time designed for mental conditioning, not just watching charts. Sit in front of the market for at least 2 focused hours every day without taking real trades. Use replay mode or a simulator and practice calling out setups in real time, executing them mentally, and noting your emotional reactions. The goal is to train pattern recognition and reaction speed until decisions feel almost automatic, daily for at least 30 days before risking real money. This builds the neural pathways needed for instinct and speed. Next, develop unbreakable focus through structured concentration drills. Scalping requires deep focus for extended periods. Train this skill like an athlete trains endurance. Choose a 45-minute block where you watch the market with 0 distractions, no phone, no music, no chatting. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the price action. Gradually increase the duration to 90 minutes or more. Many successful scalpers also use mindfulness or breathing exercises before sessions to enter a calm, focused state. Trains your brain to stay locked in even during high volatility spikes. Emotion control is built through strict rule enforcement and small stakes repetition. Trading on a very small account size or simulator with iron-clad rules, fixed stop loss, fixed target, maximum daily loss limit, and no revenge trading allowed. Every time you feel the urge to break a rule, moving a stop, increasing size out of anger, or chasing a move, stop trading immediately for the day. Treat rule breaks as serious failures. Keep a daily journal where you write down every emotional impulse you felt and whether you followed your rules. Repeated exposure with immediate consequences rewires your brain to associate rule breaking with pain and discipline with safety. To handle losing streaks, loss neutralization exercises. After every trading session, review your losing trades without any self-judgment. Write down only the facts: setup, entry, exit, and reason for loss. Then remind yourself that losses are part of the statistical edge. Do this even after bad days. Over months, trains your brain to view losses as normal business expenses rather than personal threats. Some scalpers also use visualization, mentally rehearse experiencing a string of losses and still executing the next setup calmly and according to plan. Mental rehearsal reduces the emotional impact when it happens in real trading. Develop decision speed through high repetition drills, a tick chart or very short time frame replay, and force yourself to make 50 to 100 simulated trade decisions per hour. Set strict timers. The purpose is to train your brain to process information and decide faster without overthinking. Start slow and gradually increase speed. Record your accuracy and reaction time. As your brain adapts, you will notice decisions becoming cleaner and quicker under pressure. Create a pre-trading and post-trading routine that protects your psychology. Before every session, spend 10 minutes reviewing your rules, breathing deeply, and reminding yourself that today's goal is disciplined execution, not profit. After the session, spend another 10 minutes reviewing performance with brutal honesty. How many rule violations occurred? How was your emotional state? What will you improve tomorrow? Routine builds accountability and prevents emotional carryover from one day to the next. Position sizing and risk management must become automatic. Train yourself to calculate risk instantly and never deviate from your predefined percentage. Many scalpers start with extremely small risk per trade while building their mental game. Only increase size once you can prove consistent emotional control over hundreds of trades. This gradual approach prevents big emotional swings that destroy beginners. Finally, study and model the mental habits of proven scalpers. Read trading psychology books, watch interviews of successful short-term traders, and analyze your own trade journal for patterns of weakness. Join or create a small accountability group where you share daily rule adherence and mental state. External accountability accelerates growth significantly. Rewiring your brain for scalping takes time, usually 6 to 12 months of deliberate practice before the new psychology starts feeling natural. Most traders quit too early because the process feels slow and unglamorous. But those who persist gradually notice dramatic changes. Hesitation disappears, emotions stay flat during volatile moves, Losing streaks no longer trigger panic, and decisions become cleaner and faster. The scalper's brain is not born, it is built through repetition, discomfort, and radical honesty with yourself. You are willing to treat your mind like a high-performance instrument and train it daily with the same seriousness as your technical skills. You can develop the psychological edge needed to survive and profit in scalping. The market will always be difficult, but once your mind is properly trained, fighting yourself, and that is when real consistency begins.